The information contained in this video is intended for educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice. It's lovely to meet you. Is it Ana?
Ana, yeah, it's okay.
Ana. Okay, so you wrote a fantastic book, and I would love for you to just tell us a little about your journey. I mean, how did you learn GNM? How long have you known it? And everything that kind of came about for you writing this amazing little book.
You are right. It's a little book. At first, I didn't think about uploading it on Amazon. It was just something I wanted to have written for those people who don't have time to listen to me. That moment when I have to recognize this, I'm aggressive sometimes, and I wanna share this whole. I don't know how to explain it. I feel that the universe just downloaded a lot of information in my head these years, and I please believe me, it's just that I want to share it. I want that information, that valuable information. It was revolutionary for me to find out about GNM. I would love to help people. I love people. I have been quitting my job in order to follow my dream to help people. This started, as I said, just to have something written for my friends, for my relatives. It was in Romanian at first. I write it down. I woke up at 5 a.m. One day, and just hit it. It just hit me. I have to share this with people. I have to tell about my kids. How are my kids so healthy? Why are we so happy together? Because it's not a luck, Melissa. It's not a luck. No, it's a continuous effort. Understanding how our body functions, how our brain functions. We don't know that from school, at least not in Romania. I took some classes for parenting, for gentle parenting. I understood something there. GNM came as a thing that was missing. Something was telling me that life can be beautiful without fears. Mm-hmm. We can go along and have fun and be curious and be wild and be in love with ourselves, and I don't know, swing in the park with the kids, and go on the slide. And I'm that kind of mother. I'm a little crazy for those who don't know me very much, but I love being like that. I love my kids being like this with GNM. Melissa, please believe me, they are now capable in identifying conflicts with tissues. If they have a pain, mommy, my belly hurts, my tummy hurts. Okay, and they say it must be from kindergarten, because my colleague didn't share some toy. I was upset with him, and they're so kids are like a sponge,
Mm-hmm.
and they record everything. So if my life is GNM and I speak about it, they hear me about it. So uh, their subconscious mind uh, is already filled with this valuable information.
Absolutely. I just think that is so amazing. And that is like my dream is I love reaching, young people before they have children so they can kind of download this new paradigm for themselves. So when they have kids, their experience of being parents isn't one of major fear of disease. Even just this morning, I saw a girl that, is in my friend circle, and she's posting terrified of measles, and she's like, oh, my baby's too young for she's terrified of the measles. And when you live in the GNM model, when you understand measles is a separation conflict, it has to do with the skin, then you live with this, you don't fear. And I love that your children are absorbing this new paradigm so they understand, I was upset at kindergarten, now my tummy hurts. They understand that it's not a mystery, there's not something wrong with them, they don't have a bug or a germ they have to fear. There's just a very logical, understandable connection between their mental and emotional experience and how their body responds. And I love that you're sharing that your children are picking up on this, because I think that's the hope, for parents, is that when you are living and breathing and speaking like you are German New Medicine to your family, everyone's going to start getting it. And I just love that. Can you share with us a little bit about how old your children are and how long you've been doing GNM with them?
Yeah, so as I wrote in the book, I first heard about GNM when I was pregnant with my little one. So the little one is 3 years now, in May. She will be 3 in May. So about 3.5 years, let's say, I was starting with some Aleta Solter, if you know her. It's a psychologist in UK. I was starting with her. I was starting with some courses about parenting here. I was already awakening, let's say. Then in my introduction there, I talk about my diabetes, my gestational diabetes. I had it with my first girl, with Irina. Irina is 9. My middle one, Eva, is 5, and Ziana is 3. So with 2 of my girls, I was diagnosed with diabetes. The first time it wasn't that, let's say, not so scary. I wasn't put on a diet to keep on a strict diet. But on the third one, I had to do some insulin, some, I don't know, that pushed me in finding answers. So I talked to my friend, my best friend, who was, guess what, who was in the repairing phase after her toxic relationship, and that made her go through lymphatic cancer, Hodgkin disease, and she has cured herself from that cancer with GNM. Wonderful. She understood exactly what was wrong. It was a self-devaluation conflict because she was feeling used in that relationship. She got a divorce, and after the divorce, she developed that. She already knew everything that was in the book, Dr. Hammer's book, and When I started crying about my diabetes, she said, "Oh, girl, it's such a nonsense. Here it is. Look here. Look what's happening, and you'll be fine." So the movie, the documentary movie I saw, it was wow. I called her after the movie and I asked her, "Hey, Mire, Did you know everything? Did you know these things?" Yes, yes. That's how I cured myself.
Which
So
movie specifically? Because I'm sure people watching this will want to know which video.
it was in German, but I
The long
think
documentary one, the one that's like 4 hours long, that
yes,
one with the
yes,
subtitles. Okay, yeah.
yep, and subtitle in Romanian for us. But I
Mm-hmm.
think in English too. Do you know it? With the
Yes,
mouse
yes, I
and the
do.
cat
Mm-hmm.
and,
Mm-hmm.
the breast and it's an image with a breast. I think it's the same one.
Yeah, the one at the beginning where there's like the
Yeah.
animation of the mouse, like the mouse running in the lungs. That one, yep.
Mhm.
I'll link that for everyone who wants to see it. I'll put a link to that video so they can watch it because it is a great
It was
introduction.
like for children.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, does it seem logical? Yes, because we don't know what our lungs do. Melissa, I understood that we don't know about our bodies, not even 10%, maybe. We don't know what our kidneys do. We don't know uh, how our blood is doing the circulation. I didn't know 10%. Now I'm discovering everything that our wonderful Dr. Hammer has described, and I'm thinking, it's so it is so logical. I promise, uh, folks. I promise it's so logical that it's simple and logical. You will find everything as I don't know how. You will be maybe astonished about how simple it can be. How simple is a GNM?
I know, it's so straightforward. And that's how I felt when I first learned it. I was like, this makes perfect sense, and
Yes,
when
sense,
you hear
logic.
it, it's like everything about it makes perfect sense. And when a person, that's like my favorite thing to say to people when I'm working with them is they list off all of their symptoms. I have this, disease and I'm having these symptoms. And then, if you look at their history of their emotional traumas, it's like, that makes perfect sense. The connection is as clear as day. It's biological, and there's nothing to fear. It's cause and effect. It's normal. And that's the thing. It's like, it's normal. It's logical. This makes perfect sense. It's not a mystery. It's not a gene. It's not a germ. There's not something wrong with you. You're not broken. You just don't and for years, we just didn't understand our body has a language. When your stomach hurts, when you have a rash, when you are losing hair, all of these things, they tell us something about what you've experienced. And that for me also, I had the same experience, just that like, oh my gosh, how did I never know about this? It's been around, since Dr. Hammer, since 1981, and nobody is talking about it. And that's why, I think we share a passion here because it's like, we have to tell people. People have to find out about German new medicine because it just makes sense. And you've been able to heal yourself. Your friend healed themselves. I've healed myself. I've helped heal my dog. All of these things. It's like, when it becomes very logical, very common sense, and you change your whole paradigm in the way that you think around what Dr. Hammer discovered. And it's just amazing. And I love your passion and I love your excitement. It's so good.
we have an expression here in Romanian. We say "E mare cât casa." It's big as a house. When you when you uh, when you see something is wrong, and I just ask you. So what happened 2 or 3 days ago, before the first symptoms? Oh, well, we went to a party and there was so much noise and it was weird and we wanted to go but we stayed because we were ashamed and okay, so your child has fever. I want to get out of a place. It's scary, unpleasant. It's I don't know, maybe dangerous for me. Don't you see any connection between those? Oh well, yeah. If you say so now, yes, yes, yes. It's so logical. I have a friend who had some problems with her child having some how do I call it in English? When the child cries until he suffocates, stops crying, and he doesn't breathe. And that was a conflict. It was so big, and we discovered the cause together uh, by studying the group. Also, we are in a group of study, the GNM, and we discovered that she had the same conflict uh, when she gave birth. She for a couple of minutes she didn't have enough oxygen, and a mask with oxygen was put on her face. So the kid took over her conflict, and now she is working with my friend is talking to him in sleep, as I describe in my book. It's a very powerful method. You can connect with your child. Um, Maybe it's controversial. I don't know. I'm not interested. I'll just say it. When we are asleep, our spirit, our soul is free, and we can connect with him just by calling it, because uh, children feel much more better when uh, when this happens, when the spirit is free. um, I know this method from the group, from the study group in Romania, and there are many mothers who confess this is working and it is very powerful. Please just try it. uh, don't push it away. Please try it. Just a night. um, doesn't matter what problem is, you can solve it by talking to your child. At first you have to connect with him. It's about being very honest, being uh, uh, a vulnerable mother. Vulnerable, that means that you can share secrets with him. You can tell him, I was so scared when I gave birth that I was suffocating. I was so scared. It's my conflict. Please let me resolve my conflict. It's not yours. We are different persons. I love you very much. You are wonderful. You are unconditional love. But please let me take my state of well-being, of not being well. Please know that I did what I could better. This was the thing that happened. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. I don't know. Every mother should say the um, the thing she feels that moment. It's not a magic formula. It's just being there. It's just feeling connected with your child, and um, recognizing something maybe that it's a secret for you. And
Wow.
your child really feels that.
And it's so interesting, the whole, like you said, you're not sure if it's controversial, like the talk and sleep. I mean, I feel like if someone was talking to me like that when I was sleeping, I would feel a deep sense of well-being, just that calming, that reassuring, that, like you said, there's this connection to, the conscious mind is off while you're in sleep. Like you said, the soul, excuse me, the subconscious mind, it's free, it's receptive. And so that really is, it's the most powerful time to persuade yourself. So if, an individual is going through a conflict, as you drift off to sleep, imagining vividly your wishes fulfilled, everything working out perfectly for you, convincing yourself as you fall asleep, everything's okay, everything is working out, it's not your fault, you can let this go. That's a wonderful way for adults to resolve their own conflicts. Kind of talk to yourself as you drift off to sleep. First thing in the morning, you have to establish this sense of, I'm okay, I'm secure, I'm safe, it's okay to be relaxed, to be comfortable, to be free. And speaking to your child in their sleep is such a wonderful thing. And like you said, that sense of vulnerability of like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, I was scared too. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. It's just this sense of, oh, we can all relax now. And
yeah, everything has passed.
Yes.
It's very powerful. Children have to know that we are in the present moment. Everything has passed. You can let it go. We can say thank you experience. So you have learned me what is scary, what is unpleasant. Thank you for showing me that. I now choose, now and here, I choose to know that health is my natural state. I am health. I am for always health. I am for always connected with my inner guidance, with my inner self, inner intelligence. I don't know how you want to call it. I am always healthy because I am divinely guided always. So
Yes.
I'm just saying this because this is how I do it. I talk to my kids as a little grown up, and when they sleep, you should treat them like that. No, I don't know. I don't know how to say it in English. Without little words, you just say the problem, you face the problem, and after you talked about it, you just reassure the kid that everything is safe. You are safe. You are safe, and you are loved. You are a wonderful child. Thank you for choosing me. You are my joy. I am very, very happy to have you in my life. I love you, and I will always love you no matter what you do. I don't know. Then good night and good sleep.
It really is. It's so beautiful. And that just like that sense of security, that sense of I'm okay. Because ultimately, conflicts are just the sense of like, I'm unsafe, I'm not okay. That's why the body adapts, is because it's like you're an animal and you're in an unsafe environment. And when you're in an unsafe environment, your body has these ancient programs that help you to adapt so that you survive. And so if you instill this sense of safety, of okayness, that is what's going to help the child to release, relax, so that they can get through this process. Like you said, thank the experience, because we do learn from conflict experiences. We grow, we evolve as people. We become more equipped to handle things in the future. And that ability, like that, oh, my mom, she's here, she's an adult, she's telling me I'm safe, like everything must be okay. And it builds their own self-confidence. Something I am curious about, and I don't know, is this something that you've discussed in your study group in Romania, or is this something, because I haven't read it in any of Dr. Hammer's direct literature, regarding the taking on of conflicts of the parents up until 7. So I was interested in where exactly you learned that, because it does seem very in alignment with what I've seen. I was just curious about where you came across that information.
Our admin has written, it's right here, if you, it's in Romanian. It's my Bible. It's the new biological laws, exactly as Dr. Hammer wrote. But this man, the admin, has such a great work in collecting hundreds, thousands of confessions. Confessions after confessions on the group. There are, I think, 700 confessions in a book. And from that those confessions, he got the conclusion. But there are so many mothers. I don't know if Dr. Hammer said that, but there are so many mothers that have these problems, that are similar problems, that are a pattern. I don't know if it can be taken as officially, but I think that confessions are very valuable. I think that Dr. Hammer did his discoveries after talking with different persons, having same issues and same conflict. So for me, this works. I am into this idea that kids can take over, and it was experienced by me also. When I was that year alone with the girls, I had a schooler, a child who goes to school, a child who goes to kindergarten, and a newborn, and I was alone. I was, I don't know, very scared. And every time my husband came home for a period and left, every time my little one had, of course, who was a newborn, so maybe she didn't understood everything, but my little one had the rashes, had skin rashes all over her every time my husband went again. It was my conflict. I know, because it was hard for me to see him leave. It was a separation conflict. It was mine. I was breastfeeding. She was connected there directly to my emotions, to my states, to my everything I felt was directly taken by her.
Now, did you have any rashes associated with the separation conflict? Just
no.
Okay.
She took, and I think I know the sense, the biologic sense of this. It's because nature thinks that it's better for the parent to be empowered to raise the child. A parent can, of course, take care of the child, but if the parent is sick, as we know, doesn't have a meaning now. In GNM, sickness is just something a normal biological program. But if a parent was sick and maybe not capable of, I don't know, standing up, how could he take care of the child? Wouldn't the child die or something wrong if the parent couldn't handle?
Yeah, I see what you mean. I do. I find it a very interesting kind of nuance because from my, I guess because I hadn't studied what your admin, the author of that book, has written and observed regarding children in this sense taking on the conflict of the parent. From what I understood, it's more that the child is having their own separation conflict. In the example of your child, when her father would come home, and then leave, maybe she felt your anxiety and she had her own separation conflict. Is that not in alignment with what your teacher has expressed? I guess I'm just trying to see the unique difference between a child that's having their own experience because, did your other young children have the separation conflict or just the one that you were breastfeeding?
I'm thinking about it. I think just the little one, just the little one, because I'm pretty sure it was mine. Because a newborn is not actually so aware of something so so big. I don't know how to explain it in English, but what about animals, Melissa? A newborn maybe is not so aware of the reality. What about animals? Animals can take over our conflicts too. There are many confessions about animals who I don't know, got sick after a dying disease that cured on their parents, let's say. When we look our animals as our children, animals can take over our conflict.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing. I guess I'm just very interested in the conversation. I think it's something very fascinating to observe, and there's just a lot of nuance to it. So what's the difference between, taking over someone's conflict? If it was a conflict of yours, I would think that you would express the symptoms of the conflict, you know what I mean? Because you're not consciously giving the separation to your child. I would think that you would experience a separation conflict of your own, and then the child, as a unique individual personality, it has its own interpretation, and that's why no two children react the same. But yeah, I think it's just all very interesting. I like to talk about it and discuss it because, like you said, all of these confessions, these case studies that this author has collected, I think there's so much more to learn about German New Medicine, which I love, that we're just at the very beginning of really understanding the depth of the biological conflict and how it affects the individual. And so, yeah, I'm very open to, what people are discovering and what they're finding. And I think it will. The more people that we collect cases from and we hear their stories, we hear their confessions of exactly what they went through, and how their children and their pets experienced conflicts, I think that we will discover, new nuances and details regarding the biological laws and how they affect us. So, I just think it's all so wonderful.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And the work that Dr. Hammers did. Do you know something, Melissa? I'm connecting with people in Canada, in Australia, in USA because of his work. Mm-hmm. I was speaking the other day with a Romanian who is in Canada for over 20 years, and she was telling me, I'm a holistic doctor or something like that, and GNM coach. And oh wow, it's fantastic. It's so wonderful that a man, um, I would say that I consider Dr. Hammer God's man. I think that his work is a remarkable work of God through human.
Mm-hmm. It is a gift. It is such a gift to know, I mean, just that revelation and that connection, just because it's been around for forever. I mean, and people have observed it in different kind of pockets, you know, like people understand, oh, there is a connection between the mind and the body and the spirit. And I mean, ancient teachers, they knew they knew pieces of it, and like all these different schools of thoughts, they have different pieces of the puzzle. But Dr. Hammer, he like plugged the light in the socket, and it's like, oh, this is it. It has a whole biological meaning. It evolved in this very particular way. The embryology at every single stage of evolution, and that the body goes, I mean, it's fascinating, and it's the depth of it and the detail is unparalleled. There's nothing in medicine even close to what Dr. Hammer has discovered. And I mean, I think we definitely are in that same mission as, like, you know, for people, for individuals, for mothers, for parents to know this science so that they can be free. So they can be free, like you said, to be wild and play in the park, and, you know, to live this kind of joyful, exuberant existence full of health. Yes, there will be conflicts. Yes, things will come up, but nothing will be insurmountable. Nothing will be unresolvable, you know, and like and you just look at the sadness and the, you know, these children that are locked in constellations because they're just so terrified. They've had trauma after trauma, and their parents don't know how to help them. They don't know how to connect with them at that deep level to help that child understand, I am safe, I am okay, I can release this. And the more parents that are empowered with this knowledge, more healthy children, more little geniuses who can, you know, really live to their fullest potential, just through this deep emotional knowledge of how the psyche-brain organ is connected.
Yep. It's so funny because my children were barefooted. They call it, right? Mm-hmm. So they took off the shoes, and nobody was like that in the park. And the other children were so full of clothes, and I was saying, yeah, are our friends.
I love it.
Microbes are our friends. And the girls say this to other children: microbes are our friends, and they are very seriously. Microbes are our friends, you know. How do you call it? Flu doesn't exist. How can you say that?
Oh, I love it.
And the other children go and tell this to their parents, and our friends now understand that these are valuable information. But you know something, Melissa? The best part is seeing someone open to change.
Yes.
Open to change. When someone really has aha moment, can I call it like that?
I love it.
Yeah, you're right. It must be that was the cause. How interesting.
Yes, the
Uh,
aha moment is so special when it clicks, when it's like, oh, when it's undeniable and they see it and they experience it. And that's the thing is everyone does have to. You can't convince someone of German New Medicine. They have to experience it. They have to see with their own eyes and understand the connection. And when it hits them, when they get it, it's like, oh, yes, they got it. They got it. They have an example. And once you have one example of conflict resolution symptoms and you can see the whole process, it's just a matter of time before you're seeing it all the time and you're like, oh, this makes perfect sense. Oh, this acne makes perfect sense. You know, this diarrhea makes perfect sense. And when you
yeah,
can see all of it, it's like, oh, it just becomes your way of viewing the world. I have a friend that I grew up with, who, you know, she follows my posts and now she sends me questions all the time and she's like, my children, you know, she's got 2 young girls and she's always messaging me like, what's this, and she does it because it frees her from fear, where she wants to be concerned. The example you gave, which was wonderful, of she had an experience with both of her daughters. They had, you know, diarrhea and upset tummies and throwing up and fever. And I was like, indigestible morsel conflict. They were in a situation they didn't want to be in. And she's like, oh, they had to spend a lot of time with their family who they normally don't see. And so they were up late hours. And it was exactly like that example you gave, like, I don't want to be here. I'd like to leave, but I can't. And the children were in this situation. And I was like, oh, this tummy problem, it makes perfect sense. These fevers, you know, it will pass when it passes in a couple of days, but it makes perfect sense. And she's like, oh, thank you. You know, it just helps her as a parent to not be freaked out, to not go on WebMD and say, oh my goodness, is this appendicitis? Do I need to go? You know, and that fear obviously fuels more conflict, which is going to scare the children, scare the parent, cause more problems. And that's how some, you know, things really can spiral out of control when someone doesn't understand. But it's such a gift to give this mother this freedom. Is like, no, it makes perfect sense. Everything you're going through, everything they're going through, just comfort them and snuggle them and tell them everything's okay and watch a movie and have a smoothie and just relax. This is all going to pass very soon. It's just the best. It's like,
yeah,
you know, and like you left your jobs because you're like, I love to do this. I love to give people this freedom. I love to connect them with this wisdom so that they can live freely. And that really is, it's the most beautiful thing that Dr. Hammer has given us, this like godsend of information so that we just can live.
Melissa, I feel so full of gratitude. This is the word, gratitude. I was thinking about it. So, GNM is such a revolutionary vision. It has brought me so many answers to so many questions. I feel in peace with some answers. I feel in peace when I see people that don't want to be helped because I know this is what they are choosing. I feel happy when I can save someone from uh, being in hospital. Uh, I'm against vaccination. I I speak about the damages of vaccinations, and I think I can help and save some children from this one. Uh, from GNM, I was into BACH remedies. I went in EFT. These are all instruments but our true knowledge and our power is within us.
Absolutely.
These are just instruments. Our power is knowing that God is here to guide us. Now, you can't say, I am sick, because sickness is just at the lowest level. But we have another 6 levels. How can you stay in that sickness if we are a divine piece of, physical body? We don't have faith when we say we are sick. I think that God cannot be sick. So why are we? Maybe we have some benefit from that illness. Maybe we have some fears, some programs. I think that if you say, I believe that God is here for me, I think this is here, this sickness, illness is here, so I can understand something. What is wrong in my life? What is wrong? Maybe I have to learn something here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you start to ask yourself all sorts of different questions, instead of I'm just sick. Like you said, am I getting something out of this? People, there are ulterior motives for staying in this, this sickness. And that's really, I think, important with children too. If the only time your child gets the attention and love and support from you is when they're sick and they get to stay home from school and they get to be pampered, it's like, that's a huge incentive to be sick. And so being aware of that in your own life is like, am I getting something out of this?
A benefit?
Yeah, is there a benefit that I am getting out of this? And being really honest with yourself, because it's tough to really look at your own experience and say, is there a reason that I might be holding on to this and not releasing it and, moving past it and letting go of these conflicts because I'm getting some kind of, perverse benefit where, it's because I think that I'm not going to get this attention or this love or this care from people. Even pity is a type of emotional currency that if you're getting pity from people, it's like, well, it's better than them ignoring me, or, you don't think that you have any other value. And so you kind of stay in this unwell place to get some type of attention. It takes a lot of honesty and a lot of bravery for an individual to look at themselves in that way. But like you said, you start asking these questions. What is this here to teach me? What is this showing me? This has a meaning. And that's the thing, is when you start seeing that every symptom tells a story, every symptom has a meaning, every symptom reveals something to us. I mean, that's what's so interesting. I know that you commented in the GNM self-healing group, it's like, oh, prostate cancer, that has a meaning. Many times it's that the man was betrayed by his significant other, or there was a major fight, or there was, some type of infidelity. There's something that happened there. And by knowing your diagnosis, we know a little bit about you. We don't know everything, but we have an idea of something that you went through. And when you start learning that language, it's like, oh boy, this is, it's very revealing about what you've been through. And so that's what's so empowering about it. It's like, oh, I can just read myself, look at myself head to toe, look at all of my symptoms, and I know what I experienced, and I knew anyways deep down. Maybe I didn't consciously acknowledge it, but it's something I went through.
Yes. And about pity, it's a very subtle way of, let's say, fishing some love,
Mm-hmm.
fishing. I was in the, yes, I can recognize it. It's a little bit present now. Still, I was in the victim's pattern. I was the perfect victim. I consider myself a victim. I realized this after you messaging me.
Really?
Yep, Melissa. When you asked me, would you like to talk about your work? Oh, that scares me. Oh no, I can't do it. It's too good for me. Oh, do I deserve it? I know it. I'm working on it. I know why. It's because of my childhood. It's because I know I want pity. I want pity because I don't consider I am able to do something good in my life. I know I have this program, and after I said I'm scared, Melissa. I don't know if I can do it. I was speaking to myself. Hey, what an opportunity. Can you let it go? Don't you see Melissa is so kind? What can happen? Are you afraid of being ridiculous? Being what? Controversial? It's your truth. This is your truth. So get out and just say it. I know, but I think nothing is just happening, Melissa. Everything is happening for a reason.
Well, that is so wonderful. I mean, you are amazing. You're an amazing mother, an author. You are a teacher. You are a guide. You are deserving. You are just as lovely as you can be. And you are going to help so many individuals, so many parents. I know so many people are already loving your book and already loving just, you know, your experience. And that's what your gift is who you are and your experience and your willingness to share it. And so thank you so much for being brave enough to come on and speak with me. And I know that, you know, you're oh, I love you. You're so wonderful. Your book is going to help so many people. And I just hope you realize deep down what a blessing you are. You know, what a gift you are. And you following this and you know, saying, overcoming that fear or that, you know, do I deserve this? Do I deserve this attention? Overcoming those feelings is such a huge step in your evolution. And what that means is you're going to be able to empower other people to overcome that fear. Because how many women have that fear? I have that fear too, you know? And so
I don't think so.
And of course, yeah, definitely. I mean, there is always, it's like, oh, you know, who am I to do this? You know, I think that so many people have that feeling. Who am I to do this? Who am I to speak? Oh, little old me. And it's just kind of, what was that?
I'm just a mother.
Yeah, I'm just a mother. I'm just a, you know, who am I to, but the thing is when you realize that it's like, who is anyone to do anything? You know, it's just like you have to stake your claim. You have to say, you know what? I'm a mother and I'm a teacher and I'm a helper. I'm a people helper and I can guide. And, you know, I've learned from experience. You've had, you know, these brilliant downloads from the universe of like, you know what, this is a wonderful way to help your children. This is a wonderful way to, you know, to help other mothers help their children. And so I encourage everyone watching this video to go to Amazon and to download Ana's book, because it is absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's just going to be a resource guide for every single parent, you know, so that they have something to go to. Ooh, what can I do for this? How can I help my child? How can I be at peace right now? And so thank you for being brave enough to write your book, even if you didn't intend for hundreds of thousands of people to read it. They will, you know, if it was just started, meant for friends and family. But I mean, this is, what you're doing is very brave. It's very wonderful, and I'm so proud of you, and I'm so excited to know you. I'm so glad you reached out to me a few months ago and, you know, sent me your book, and, you know, I think it's just going to get bigger and better from here. Well, I guess we can wrap it up here. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate you taking the time for this video. I think, like I said, that this will help so many people. I will leave a link in the YouTube description so that you can click on it and head right over to Amazon to get the book. And if people want to reach out to you, I can also include your email, so that if, you know, anyone, especially in Romania, wants to come and join in your GNM group, you know, people from all over the world, I'm sure will want to connect with you through social media. Obviously, you can, you know, reach out to me directly if you'd like a connection, and I'm sure we'll be, you know, collaborating on things again in the future. So thank you again so much for meeting with me. Have a wonderful night. I know it's late where you are, so thank you again.
9 p.m.